Hey everyone, welcome to episode 85 of Masters of the Fudge. My name's Adam, and with me is Jason.
Hello everyone.
As usual. Hi, Jason. Oh, it's good to see you. Or talk to you. Whatever we're doing here.
We're like hanging out in the virtual, what is the skin? Hobby cave? I don't know.
Gender neutral hobby hangout cave?
Works for me.
Something. So, funny thing, Peter contacted me yesterday, and he seemed a bit perturbed about something. I don't know what he was talking about. He's talking about something stealing his intro. Anyways.
Intro? We stole someone's intro?
What's on tap tonight, Jason?
Water. Ha! Again. Because today's high is 85 degrees.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's
February.
Here the high was 65 something.
Yeah.
It was a lot for February, March, Uary.
Yeah.
February, March. It was not. I came home early. I decided, you know what? I don't need to be here today. And I came home, brought some lunch home to Wendy, and took the dogs for a walk. Felt good. It's going to be like negative a bajillion this weekend, so it was nice to go ahead and do that.
Yeah, get out, see the sun, those sorts of things that we don't get very much when in upstate.
Zero hobby progress. Well, except for preparing for the show, of course.
Hey, I've got some.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have zero today.
Zero today. Oh,
I'm not gonna come to the show and be like zero hobby progress at all. I mean,
yeah,
we do belong to the 1 hour a night group, and I believe that there's some kind of unwritten expectation, right? So, what have you been up to in the hobby today?
All right, let's see. Well, I didn't hobby today. I was going to, but then I realized I hadn't finished my show notes. So,
well, you made some nice show notes today. For this episode. I really appreciate you putting forth the effort.
I went into work early today and just started. Well, I had the book with me, and I locked my office door and just started typing because it was going to be so much more fun than if I left the door open and everyone asks me questions about things that I don't know the answer to. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. But at least with that book, I have answers. Don't know what the questions are, but there are answers. All right. So, hobby progress this week. We typically record on Sunday. Today it's Thursday. And I tend to do most of my hobby stuff on Tuesday through Sunday because of work and whatnot. But I did some work in my Raven Guard army. I'm almost done with 8 more TAC Marines. And I don't know if you saw the pictures, but I actually have 2 old plastic beakies. Like, they look almost like the Rogue Traders, like the first plastic beakies.
Yeah.
And so I threw them in there also, because why not?
The Forge World beaky heads look like those old beakies, I think. I'm looking at one right now on one of my models, and they have a more elongated downward turning beak. Yeah, somewhat.
It's a little odd to paint because I didn't put these guys together.
There's not as much detail,
right? And that kind of bothered me because I was like, I should add some more something here, but it's not there, and I don't know. So yeah, I'm almost done with them. I think I have just some touch-ups in the eyes. And then, and decals, of course. And then I have a 5-man Flamer attack support squad that I'm almost done with also. Like, I have to paint the bases and I think eyes and some details on the face. And, of course, decals. Yay! But tonight, I think, after we're done, I'm just going to build something. I have the Imperial Triumvirate that we'll be talking about later. I ordered those models, so I really want to build Celestine just because I love that pose and how it's dynamic and how it holds up, the jetpack unit. I think that's pretty cool. Let's see. So that's the hobby progress, which I do have purchases because we do consider that, or at least I do. I picked up the Demon Codex because it's probably a good idea for me to have them, especially if I decide to, pick up like the Zinch box or something like that, so I can do Thousand Suns. And I also... Go ahead.
Duh. I said duh.
Yeah. And, I kind of need to have it because I happen to be on this narrative podcast, and I need to be able to read this stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great idea, right? And I picked up the Trader's Legion book, and I accidentally picked up the CSM book. And
Accidentally? The CSM book?
I found... Oh, I didn't tell you about that? No. Okay, this was like a month or two ago. Maybe when we weren't maybe when we took the time off. My local store had one of the mini CSM books that actually looks really nice, and it was 25% off. It's like, well, that's pretty cheap, so I'm going to get that. So I have those books now. Let's see. I also ordered a KR backpack because I really dig my Pack Air, but I'm using it for moving vehicles because I like how it transports, drop pods and rhinos and stuff. So, trying to figure out some ways I can wander up to upstate New York or throughout Texas because I did talk to one of the guys up north, Michael, not Mike, about Horse Heresy events up there.
You actually, in Discord, you actually have it. I talked to Michael, not Mike.
Yeah. That's his Facebook name. I thought that was incredible. That was one of my favorite Facebook names now because it's so funny. So yeah, I like to get a KR backpack so I can wander up there and be able to transport things a little better because I have the GW cases and I like them because they can take a bullet. I'm pretty sure.
They're pretty tough.
Yeah, but getting them on airplanes. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see where that might be tough. Or at least just cause a bump in the road. Yeah.
It's like, hi, I'm a nerd. How are you doing? At least with the KR case. And
not a gun. Yeah, not a gun.
Yeah. I did tell you about that. One of my friends lost, well, I didn't lose. Someone actually stole all of his GW cases because they thought they were guns.
It happens all the time. I can't imagine these thieves breaking into people's cars like, someone would actually leave a firearm in the back of a car. It's totally worth the risk of stealing this. Yeah. Smash window, grab it. Imagine these guys going home, all excited, cracking a beer opening it up only to find a bunch of nerd toys. Yeah. Oh, they would be so mad.
What made me kind of, I don't know. I don't want to laugh at my buddy, but he had like all these. No, it's
just like
he had all these.
The person,
He had all these old metal models. So they're heavy, and they probably grabbed that box and thought, jackpot, right? Because he had two other cases filled with plastic, and they did not touch them. But the one that was heavy, they grabbed. And it was all Smurfs.
Oh, this is the one that's got the pistols in it. There's probably more than one gun in here. Yeah. We're going to take this home. We're going to be rich.
Yeah, I felt horrible because I think he's been playing since like second or third edition, so some of his first models were in that box. Like he still used them because they were his first models, and
I genuinely feel bad. Yeah. But the very act of stealing models because you think they're guns comes built in with comeuppance. Yeah. There's built-in comeuppance there. It's like, aw.
Yeah.
Aw.
Oh, look at all the guns in there that you can't use because they're not real.
You can shoot imaginary guns.
Pew, 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 pew.
Yeah, that's great.
So anyway, that's my hobby progress, purchases, blah, blah, blah. I haven't really read anything this past week that wasn't Gathering Storm, and I started reading the second book of Gathering Storm because I'm curious. It's good to get ahead.
Good to get ahead. Yeah. We'll be recording that in a week and a half anyways, so we're going to want to...
Oh, I've already read just the first 15, 20 pages, and it's like, okay, this is going to be interesting. some
right,
cool
I'm
fluff in
looking
there.
forward to it. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And comparing and contrasting to kind of what we talked about with the Eldar about this time last year, so it should be interesting.
Yeah, that has been about a year.
Well, my hobby progress, it's only been a few days, but of course I have some. I've continued my work on Pat's Chaos Knight.
Yay! That thing looks awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really happy with the way it's turning out. I worked on the Sarcophagus mainly.
Mm-hmm.
Normally knights don't have sarcophagi, but this one does because Nurgle. And I used, you know how that there's a top hatch on these guys?
Mm-hmm.
So I built some wave serpents a long time ago for a commission, and I just didn't bother putting in the cockpits because they wanted them enclosed and the windshields painted black.
Yeah.
So I just kept the bits from the cockpits.
Good idea.
So I put one of those cockpits in there, and I put a torso in, and I have the Orc kit comes with head trophies, and one of them is a human, and it looks like a corpse head. The mouth is all slack, and the eyes are kind of half closed, and everything like that. So I used one of those heads in there, and I covered it in tubes and chains. I have a bunch of chains from remember the splinter pistols I bought for the for the skinks. Yeah, I had. Well, they also, each one of those pistols also had like this batarang on a chain thing. So I have a ton of tiny little chains that I can use for different things. So I used that for this, and some hoses, and then I kind of covered up all my mistakes with, Nurgle's great.
Yeah.
So just some pustules and growths and stuff, and that's coming along really nicely. And Pat even said, like, I talked to him about it, I'm like, if you want, I could paint, and then you could Nurgle it up or whatever. And he's like, you know what? No, just go ahead and do it. I'm like, okay, well, what greens do you want me to use? He's like, no, I want them to be different. I want it to look like, a night house or something that got Nurgle-fied.
Ooh.
Not just Death Guard. Or not just like plague green colors. Yeah. So he wanted white. He wanted it to have started off as white. So I'm gonna do it's almost gonna look old Death Guard-y, actually.
Oh, that's a good scheme. So, that white and green.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Green, yeah. So that'll be fun. I'm gonna do this whole thing like that. So I'm gonna do the same silver I've been using on my knights as a base with the dry brushes and everything, and then I'm gonna do the panels white. So that should be good. I'm gonna be a bit behind on my model count for the month. I'm supposed to, I kind of want to do 30 models a month, and I'm gonna be behind.
You're insane.
But points wise, I think I'm gonna be about right there. So once I start the Skaven and once I start the Lizard Men, those should catch me up.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to go to a tournament this weekend again, but it's just too much. I can't go to another tournament a week after. So, I did start repainting my Legion of the Damned to use with my knights.
Yeah,
in 40K. Yeah, and so I want them in the same scheme. So I have 3 units of these guys. 2 Melta and a Plasma.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured what I would do is I would count them as kind of, so the idea behind my knight army is that they're demon hunters, right? They're demon fighters, and not really like little demon fighters. They bring them in when they need the big guns against the big guys, right?
Yeah.
Against demon princes and stuff. So, my thought is that there's an Ordo Hereticus Inquisitor behind all this, and who's kind of created this army out of this one house. It's kind of been passed down through the years, through the millennia. In the Ordo Hereticus, someone's always kind of been in charge of corralling these guys. Well, she started to think that, maybe these knights, after maybe some kind of conflict, she decided they needed some kind of point defense, some ready defense to protect them from some of the maybe the smaller demons, or just a way of extricating a knight from trouble where another knight couldn't get there in time. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking the Ordo Hereticus and the Star Eagles have always been at odds. And I'm wondering if this specific Inquisitor got wind of some of the Star Eagles' activities, and rather than expose them to the greater Imperium, she blackmailed them and pressed their first company into service.
Yeah. That could be interesting.
Yeah, so I think that's the story I'm going to go with. Like, so these guys are actually the same guys, just new paint on the armor and kind of pissed off about the situation. So the armor's getting painted in the black with I totally repainted the bolt gun and then dry brushed the Ironbreaker over it, and now I'm carefully painting the black and around the silver, which is a pain in the butt, but it still looks way better with that silver dry brushed than it would be if I tried painting black first and then the silver. So I've only got 6 of those 15 blacked. It's going to take me a little while, but it'll get my model count up for the month. I'm going to try to do that this weekend. Just take some time and relax and do some painting,
Yeah, going out every year, going off to do tournaments and whatnot every weekend can be a bit rough. I mean, like, I'm going out of town this weekend for a family thing, and I think I've got 2 weekends in March and 2 weekends in April where I have to go out of town. It's just blech.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, so I'm just going to be a homebody this weekend. I'm going to have some friends over for Kingdom Death.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, Wendy's got a test she needs to take this weekend, so we're just gonna keep it easy, keep it sleazy.
Good deal.
To be honest, yeah. So that's it for me. I guess Ralph did talk to me about maybe doing a tournament in March. I don't know. I'll let the listeners know if that happens. I'm like tired, but yeah. With Best Coast pairings, it kind of takes care of itself. So
yeah.
It's not that big a deal. But that's it for me, man. So I guess we're going to launch ourselves into our conversation about the fall of Cadia on your tabletop. First, some messages from our sponsors.
Hello, everyone. The Masters of the Forge is now a proud member of the NPC, the Narrative Podcast Consortium. Our aim is to inspire your hobby through the rich lore of the 41st millennium. If you enjoy our podcast, then make sure to check out these other awesome shows, where you can get coverage on campaigns, Black Library, and all kinds of general topics of the 40K background.
The NGC 40K podcast also provides in-depth campaign coverage, audio dramas, and free-flowing narrative campaign creation.
The Adeptus Terra podcast also features in-depth discussions of the lore and commentary on the hobby.
Oh, and sexy English voices.
Oh, yeah.
The Masters of the Forge brings the world of 40K to life on your tabletop, with discussion on the lore, backed up by narrative-themed rules and battle reports.
Of course, this is only a fraction of the topics covered by the podcasts of the NPC. Please tune in to find out more.
Greetings, mofos.
Are you out of George Dickel number 8, staring at a broken chess machine?
Don't want to spend the rest of the year tied to that couch?
Well, why don't you head on over to the 1 Hour a Night Facebook page and see what exciting stuff is going on there. It's a place to post all your daily progress in the hobby grind, as well as receive and give positive feedback. Also, there are usually a few interesting challenges going on.
That's right. All you have to do is search for 1 Hour a Night on Facebook. That's numeral 1 Hour a Night, all one word. Blood serum tests will be administered prior to approval.
Se til helvete og kom dere vekk. Det ikke en bikkje, det en slags ting. Den imiterer en bikkje, men det ikke det. Kom dere vekk, idioter!
What he said. Welcome back. Well, Jason, these are some fun rules.
Yeah.
And I hope that our last Wrath of Magnus conversation on your tabletop was a good format for everyone. We did get into like some of the abilities a little bit. I think we got a little too much like Codex breakdown-y a little bit in the last one, but we still had a good narrative focus, I think. So I think we're gonna try to keep it even more narrative focused this time, but you know, it's hard not to talk about the rules, but we're definitely gonna try to not make these, you know, Codex breakdowns, because that's not what we're about. So the first thing that we're gonna talk about is the Empiric Storm table.
Oh yeah.
Which this is so much fun. I guess there's a deck of cards for it. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was going to order it, but it's out of stock on the GW site. I haven't looked at it lately though. Maybe I can order it next week.
It's a D66, so I could try plugging this into my tactical objective deck roller application that I wrote.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good place to put it.
Because it's the same thing, right? So no reason not to. So it's a D66, like I said. There are two different like effects. One's persistent, one's instantaneous. Instantaneous happen right away, and you just read the card and it'll tell you what to do. And the persistent ones happen until the start of your next turn. And each player rolls one. So there's going to be two in effect most of the time. If you have persistent ones.
Yeah.
Okay. And you know, like I said, each player draws one at the start of their turn, every turn. And it's not like, they're not like game breaking things. They're little things that happen during the game. Now I guess they could be considered game breaking if you're playing competitively.
Oh yeah.
For example, like the perils whenever you fail a psychic roll or whatever, or perils on any double is pretty bad.
Yeah.
Null tide, models cannot use invulnerable saves. If you're playing competitively, that is the worst. Yeah. But if you just have a balanced take all comers list, it's not that big a deal. It's things that affect like 5 to 10% of your army. Not a big deal.
Some of the things are really fun too, like there's changes in movement. Like all of a sudden you can move more or you can move less. And there's one of them, I wrote this down, number 24, Warp Tunnel. A unit will randomly deep strike. Like it'll be on the board and it just randomly moves.
And it can do anything. It can assault or shoot or whatever. And that's really awesome. I love that. Yeah, the Warp Tunnel. Yeah. That is really cool. Let's see. Yeah, and then there's things that give you like Empiric Courage. It changes your leadership value, and all of these. Well, okay, most of these have a greater effect on psychers.
Yeah.
So if you're playing that kind of game, you know, you're gonna use that. So this table could have different effects for different armies if you wanted to try making your own for a different faction.
Yeah.
For example, if you're playing Oryx, you could come up with some kind of strange like WOG power table, like the world is like permeated with WOG energy. Or if you were playing Mechanicus, there could be some kind of motive force aura on the world. It's like there's a lot of, for this particular mechanic, there's a lot of interesting connotations for the kind of things you could actually do with it.
Yeah, there's all sorts of fun stuff on here. Non-psychers and some roles become psychers.
Yeah.
Which I thought was hilarious. I don't know.
And that lasts till the end of the game.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. Unreality Reigns. All dice rolls of 1 count as 6, and all dice rolls of 6 count as 1.
Oh, yeah.
Has no effect on the game whatsoever, but hilarious.
I forgot completely about that one.
I love it.
There's so many.
I love it.
And there's so many, effects that there's a lot of narrative things. It's really funny.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading through them laughing. I think I texted you on Discord a couple of weeks ago when I first got the book and said, this is the storm table I need.
So here's the thing. This actually makes me want to not play Mission 1 for Altar of War.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to try these rules out, and I was wondering if this might actually be a great chance for me to bust out the Imperial Knights and actually narratively play them the way I intend to, as like these big demon hunters, and have somebody with a lot of Tzeentch demons bring their Tzeentch demon princes, and we can use a different mission from here using this table.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I think maybe we can just say, hey, we're using this table and call it an Altar of War mission.
Right, right, yeah.
Because, I mean, all the missions on here, we're going to talk about the missions in a minute, don't worry, guys.
Yep.
I love this Empiric Storm table. I think that it's, like, there was a book we looked at earlier, one of the Fenris books, that had an incredible table similar to this that I really dug. Mm-hmm. So
probably like yeah.
There's a few episodes.
Yeah, I remember
back.
that. It was the weird demon planet rules.
Okay, yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, Midgardia had those rules on it because it was so messed up by chaos. Yeah. And so yeah, I think actually playing with Tzeentch against Tzeentch demons would be really cool. Yeah. And I think I'm going to see what I can do. Let's actually delve through some of these missions, and let's actually decide right now which one we're going to play.
All right.
Do you want to start us off?
Yeah. All right, so we've got 4 missions total. The first one is called Scavenger War. And this is Oryx versus the Mechanicus, which is really cool because this actually is a narrative mission in the book. The Oryx do show up for a short... Oh, wait, hold on. Did we say spoilers yet?
I think it's implied.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Don't want to get in trouble. Don't want Justin, griping at me or Mike or anybody. Okay, here we go. Oryx versus Mechanicus. There's actually part of the book where they actually talk about the Oryx pretty much just raiding the Mechanicus and being a general all-around nuisance until Call decides, all right, fine, we're just going to trap them. So it's a trap. That's right. Oh, yeah. So the Imperial forces versus Oryx. Imperials must have Call, and each unit must have the Mechanicus, Skitarii, or Imperial Knights faction. And then you have Oryx, and they must have a big mech included.
Now, both of those faction requirements are only requirements because... So these are all Echoes of War missions. So there's the big difference. Like, Echoes of War is based... When they use that term, they mean it as part of an ongoing campaign, unlike the Altar of War, which are kind of these one-off...
Yeah.
Pretty much one-off faction-based ones. These are all campaign-based. So if you're playing it based on the story, yes, Oryx versus Mechanicus-y stuff. Yeah. However, I think this mission's pretty good. Stands on its own pretty well.
Oh yeah, you could go through and quote-unquote reskin it, maybe change the forces, and it would work.
I think
pretty
it works
well.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. So what we have here on special... so for the mission, you have to have 3 objective markers, and they are placed within the Mechanicus deployment zone. So that's...
And they actually suggest using Munitorum armored containers.
Oh yeah, that's right.
For the purposes of that. Just put them right next to the Orcs, and that represents the bait that the Mechanicus is leaving for the Orcs.
I love that. It's so great. All right, so special rules. Night fighting is an effect throughout the mission. It's called Death by Moonlight, which I like that. That's pretty cool. The Mechanicus may choose a result on Mysterious Objectives table for each objective after deployment. So you can set these things out, see what's happening with your opponent, and change things around. And now the third special rule, which is my favorite, looting time. At the pardon me. At the end of any turn in which the orcs control an objective, they can loot it. And this reduces its VP value, this victory point value, from 3 to 1 for the Mechanicus player. So if the Mechanicus player actually manages to recapture it, instead of getting 3 VPs at the end of the game, it's just 1. Basically, the orcs defiled it, and they can't use it. So
they took either most of the stuff, or all you're left with is a shipping container.
Pretty much.
A bunch of grots carted everything away.
And this could be used for Blood Ravens because, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Clearly. Or Chaos. Chaos is great for this.
Oh, yes, it is, isn't it? Or if Trazen shows up in your game because, he's the patron saint of the Blood Ravens or something. I don't know.
And that works pretty much for any mission where maybe you just want to break something,
Yeah.
If you hold it, you broke it, and it's only worth 1 victory point to the other player.
That's pretty cool.
Stuff like that.
That's a cool mechanic. I really, as I was reading it earlier today, I thought, yeah, I like this. This is fun. This is a nice.
Yeah, the
thing.
more you read these, I mean, at first you think, oh, how can they take this concept and make it interesting and new every time?
Yeah.
And they just seem to be coming up with these little tweaks that just make it a totally different game.
Yeah, and I like that. I've been really happy with these Echoes of War missions. They seem to be fun.
Totally.
And then we have, let's see, where are we?
Objectives. Special mission rules. Loot and time.
Yeah, we get through loot.
Oh, yeah, we're done.
All right. Ruh-roh. Okay, then we have the Sword of Defiance. This one's versus Chaos versus the Imperial. And for Chaos, all units must have the Chaos Space Marine faction, and you have to include at least 1 unit of Khorne Berserkers in your army. The Imperial faction, units must have either the Dark Angels faction or, as I like to call it, the Astramilla what now? The Imperial Guard, son. Anyway, you need to have a company master from the Dark Angels to be included, and that to represent Master Coriel as the Warlord.
Yeah, and this is representing the battle just outside the crashed spaceship, the crashed Dark Angel starship.
Yeah. Now, what's really cool about this, since I guess they are, within the starship but in the area, fortifications for the Imperials are free. So you can take however many you want from what I read, and you can they can be placed anywhere in the Imperial deployment zone, which that could be fun. That could be interesting.
Yeah, there's a reason for that, though, as we'll see.
Yeah. So then we have mission special rules. You've got Empiric Storms, so you're going to have some fun stuff there. You then have a first attack wave. So Chaos can move any of their models from reserve, including Deep Strike, in the first turn. So it's almost a null deploy army, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And then secondary attack waves. Any CSM model with the Walker, Flyer, or Infantry special rule is placed into ongoing reserve if completely destroyed. I like that.
Yeah, so they basically have unlimited units, but you're actually playing to 8 game turns. So
that's a long game.
That's a really long game. And the Imperium is scoring based on destroyed enemy units. Yeah. So the more units Chaos brings on, the more points the Imperium player racks up.
Yeah.
And the Chaos player is scoring on being within the Imperial player's deployment zone, which is basically all of the 2 foot by 6 foot area on their side of the table. So, and it's 3 points each. So that's very interesting. I think that's pretty balanced, actually.
Yeah, that's gonna be a bloodbath. It's just.
It certainly is.
That's just gonna be everything dying.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, I approve.
And these are all really ramping up. Like that's actually gonna be a lot of points.
Yeah.
Mission 3 is even more points. I don't even see why this is being played on a 4x6 table anyways.
Okay, so I'm not
this
the
is
only
this is
one.
almost
okay.
This is almost apocalypse level.
Yeah.
Although I think at the same time, I think it's kind of a confined space anyways. So I'm just imagining just loads of models being shoved around on this regular 6x4 board. And it's set up in kind of a hammer and anvil where the Imperial player is on the 3 foot by 4 foot area, and Chaos is all the way on the other side in a 12-inch by 4 foot area. So the Chaos player is stuffing all their models into a 12-inch deployment zone. Well, the Imperial player, again, has a bunch of fortifications, basically anything that they want. None of them are dilapidated. They just get whatever they want. And they start claimed by the Imperial player. So,
wow, that for someone who has a lot of fortifications, I mean, you could really throw some bullets across.
Yeah, but again, we also have Chaos units are able to regenerate during this one again. Yeah. So that's kind of a give and take there.
Got it.
As for the units, it's just a smorgasbord of Chaos and Imperial. I think it really takes advantage of some of the detachments in this book. And also the Chaos player is allowed to take Astra Militarum units.
Oh, for like Traitor Guard.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if it says it here, but I'm sure they're meant to be allies of convenience. Not only that, they say, hey, designer's note, if you're planning to play suitably large game to represent the truly epic nature of this battle, and you have an appropriate model available, why not also include the Traitor Baneblade Vicanthrus as part of the Chaos player's army? Question mark. Well, why not? Indeed, book.
Come on, man.
Yeah, so
go big or go home. What are you talking about? Bring a Baneblade. It's gonna be 1,500.
I really like this mission. It is a lot as is, but I think some of the stuff in here, while Creed is on the battlefield, use his leadership, empowered by Khorne, the Demon Prince, your Canthros has 3 boons from the boon table.
Wow.
And yeah, this one's a little more generic. This is like, I don't see anything really stand out here for your games of 40K, like coming up with your own missions and stuff.
Yeah.
But it certainly does the trick for representing the battle on the table or in the story. And this one's 10 turns.
Yeah. That's going to be, like you mentioned, it's going to be a long day.
It's going to be a really long day, and I think it's very much meant to be a battle of attrition.
Yeah.
Where the Imperial player has all these hardened positions, and the Chaos player just keeps on bringing on wave after wave. I strongly recommend, if you do play this, to kind of hold that Demon Prince in reserve until a little bit later.
Yeah.
Because I think that you could really end up... You just destroy those strength 10 or strength 9 pie plate dealing things before bringing him on.
Yeah, that's going to be a big game. 10 turns. I mean, even in small games, that's a bit. And this isn't going to be a short game at all.
No, and I think that the last mission has some more interesting rules in it that you can kind of steal for your own games of 40K. The Emperor Protects. This represents the battle with Trazen in it.
Oh yeah.
That was down in the catacombs underneath, or the dig, the archaeological dig underground. Flyers can't be used. Again, it's a smorgasbord of units, both Chaos and Imperial. The only thing is some units are forced to be in reserve. Like St. Celestine comes in and smashes through the ceiling, causing damage to people, which is cool.
Oh, yeah.
And you also have Trazen the Infinite, who is here for 0 points. And some of the units that you bring are trapped in his Tesseract Labyrinth, which is great. Or Tesseract Vault.
I love that, actually. My minor gripe on that, and it's very, very minor, is that the story does say, hey, there's a guy wandering around in gold armor. You know, it's like, oh, you can bring a custody, but that's not That's not allowed. Bummer. So, but I do like that Trazen shows up because why not? Here, I've got a Rubik's Cube full of dudes. Have at it.
And I think that this is where this one is a little ingenious, and it's just okay. I guess it doesn't take much brain power, but the victory conditions are kill points, for both sides. So the rule, savior or thief, the Imperial player can choose whether or not to release the units in the Tesseract Labyrinth or the Tesseract Vault, because maybe you don't want to hand over kill points to the opposing player.
Yeah.
You know, it of course it does include Inquisitor Greyfax, so she has to be in there, and any of your Astra Militarum, what are they called? The elite guys have to be in there as well.
Yeah. Oh, the Militarum Tempestus, aka the Scions.
Scions, yeah, or Ultramarines have to be in there. But I mean, you can use that. So basically, those units all deep strike using the same scatter die.
Yeah.
And if there's any kind of mishap, it's always a misplace, and your opponent gets to place the unit instead.
Yeah, that could be interesting, because depending on how many models are coming out, that could be fascinating. And I guess they'd all come out at the same time in the same place.
Yep.
That's going to be.
But you can play some.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's really cool. I like that a lot. I think that's a cool rule that you can kind of use for your own games, either because with some kind of reserve mechanic where an entire half of your army is coming in at once, and you have to place them and use the same scatter die, and or whatever. You could choose to bring them on or not for the same reason, like maybe it's kill points or something like that. I think it would be fun. But it's only 4 missions, and I think that's good. I think sometimes we get too wrapped up in trying to exactly replicate the story.
Yeah.
When you can get this done in a couple weeks if you played this out.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe a month, because you're not getting any of these done in 1 day.
Well,
or 2 of these done in 1 day.
What's funny is while I was still up in New York, I was running through Cadia with Bill, and I think we got up to either 3rd or 4th mission, and then we had to build flyers, and neither one of us had flyers. So we took time off to go build flyers, and by the time it was, I got my flyers built and he had his, then I moved. So, but I think I think I found someone down here who actually wants to run that campaign, so I might be able to continue.
Cool. Nice. Yeah, that's great. 'Cause it is a little, I mean, it gets a little much going into 6 missions, 7 missions, 8 missions.
Yeah, and that one's, I think,
I like this. Yeah, this is good. This is 4. Yeah. This is nice. It's got the story, and you got 4 missions, and you got some rules, which is nice. And the rules really help sell the books to some players who kind of expecting some new content rules wise. And it sells models too. Yeah. I mean, Belisarius Call. This guy is a freaking monster.
Oh yeah,
and that model is gorgeous. I played against him at the last Portal tournament, and I think my opponent forgot a few things. He didn't do his canticles at all.
Okay.
Which if I see him again, I'll remind him, like, hey man, you get these, even though you're not running all Mechanicus, you get this stuff.
Even though you're stomping on me, look, man, you still got to run it.
Yeah. So I love this model. The rules are great. I mean, the rules are wonderful, but I love this model.
Yeah.
Look at how cool he is. He's so detailed. I don't know how they do it. I mean...
Well, I'm building him tonight, so...
Nice. That's so cool.
That is my reward for making it through the week without flipping out. Yay!
So the cool thing about him is he has these Canticles of the Omnissiah and Canticles of the Archmagos. Now the Canticles of the Omnissiah aren't new. That's just a standard Cult Mechanicus rule. But I love the fact that he has abilities that affect other vehicles and stuff in your army. So that's really, really cool. And if you check out the book, you get 3 different ones throughout the game in these Canticles of the Archmagos. One affects ballistic skill, one affects invuln saves, and another affects it gives you it will not die.
Yeah.
Which would be really cool for like knights and stuff.
Yeah. And it's all based on how many units you still have on the board. So
that's right.
The more units that you have on the board, the better the effects are.
Right. But I think those still have to be units with the Canticles of the Omnissiah rule. I'm not sure.
Let's see. No, actually, it affects. Looks like it
affects
everyone.
Other vehicles, but I don't know how many units you count. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
you can play it however you want. I think it's really cool. Celestine is a gorgeous model as well. Yep. I think they phoned it in on the wings, but I think they're meant to be mechanical wings anyways. Right. So maybe I'm not giving it the due it deserves. I mean, they put doves. They put like 6 doves on her, so I guess I can't complain.
Well, I've seen some incredible paint jobs already on on 1 Hour Night and a few other places of those wings, and there's some amazing stuff being done out there. Someone did kind of a white bluish metal version of the wings also, which I thought were quite cool.
I like the idea of adding her to whatever army you want. I especially like the idea of adding her to the Black Templars, which we'll talk about later. Yeah. But she's a really cool model, and she comes with those sisters. And I love the idea of those sisters having, martyred themselves to try and defend Cadia, and I think that they are the best. Yeah. The fact that they kind of come back one of them comes back every turn as long as Celestine's still around.
Oh yeah, the healing tears.
That is super cool, and I think it's so what you would want from Saint Celestine. She can join a unit now.
Yeah.
Well, she could join a unit before, but she can join it with these 2 sisters with her. So she's just so good. Yeah. She comes back like she used to. She'll come back once per game. The past leadership check.
And she's leadership 10, so you got a pretty good chance.
Yeah, and her warlord trait is the same as it used to be. If you got Sisters of Battle nearby, she makes it easier to use your battle hymns or your
war hymns,
acts of faith and war hymns. So that's really cool. Greyfax is a jerk, and I don't like her.
I like that model.
Moving on.
Hold on. No. I dig that model. I mean, come on. You've got a bolt gun with a crossbow on it. How much cooler do you want? Come on.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, she's awesome, and I actually thought about using her.
And the character's the character is not the best or not the most pleasant or whatever. And there's the issue with the high heels, but we won't go into that.
She is Ordo Hereticus Inquisitor, and I could see at least someone like this being the Ordo Hereticus Inquisitor that blackmailed the Star Eagles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? It's exactly this kind of jerk that would do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, she's got a master-crafted Condemner bolt gun and a power sword, because why not?
Because, yeah,
and then
it's pretty
Psych-Out grenades, which are Inquisition. That's what they typically can get. I like her Warlord trait. We have...
Yeah.
Infiltrators can't set up within 24 inches, which...
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, if you use infiltrating units, that could really ruin your day. And that's actually really cool. I mean, I guess that would keep her from having to take servo skulls.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think the consensus is though that the cult ambush is not infiltrate, but I would almost say, if you're having a narrative game with this Inquisitor, I would say that's probably, you should probably not cult ambush within 24 inches of Greyfax.
Are you talking about Gene Stealers?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I can see that. But if I was playing Gene Stealers, I would have all of the Flamers with me. Sorry, that's the way it goes.
We're back to characters having their own psychic powers, by the way.
Yeah.
Because I think there's some. Didn't Magnus have his own? Or something.
Maybe.
Well, at least we had the one where the flying power, or no, that was an item, wasn't it? Yeah. Well, anyways, at any rate, Inquisitor Greyfax has her own psychic power, which is pretty cool. You're either 1 or 3.
Oh yeah.
Which is really cool because you could choose either to target with it or make an AoE with it.
Yeah. I liked that.
What does this thing do again?
It's called Aura of Impression, and let me see here. It's a malediction that targets a single non-vehicle unit within 12 inches. The target must immediately take a pinning test. Even if the test is passed, while the power is in effect, the target unit cannot run, turbo boost, perform sweeping advances, or fire Overwatch. So that's the 1 warp charge. 3, though, because it's 1 or 3. If you manifest with 3, the power targets all enemy non-vehicle units within 12 inches of the caster.
That's so cool.
So,
and I don't see why you wouldn't, kind of use this for other characters if you want. I could see this being on the naughty side as well, like this kind of like malevolent presence from a demon of some kind. And I think this sets a great precedent for coming up with your own psychic powers for your own characters. Why not?
Yeah. This one's pretty cool. I like this one.
Yeah.
It does fit her.
Yeah,
there's also,
it does.
The other one, Indomitable Will. You want to talk about that one?
Oh, yeah, that's her special ability. Yeah, she's really cool. Yeah. So when she denies the witch, she counts as having a higher mastery level than the psyker. I guess even Magnus, so...
That could be an issue.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Like he focuses his mental power on her. I could see that being a scene coming up in one of the books, right? Yeah. Like imagine Magnus like staring her down and trying to break her will, and she's just like, yeah, no, because no, yeah. How about this Condemner bolt gun that I have right here to your face? Pew, pew, pew. Twang, Perils of the Warp. How great would that be if he died to a Perils of the Warp from an Inquisitor?
See, that could be interesting.
I hate Greyfax. Shut up. No, I hate her so much.
No, you don't.
No, she doesn't get to kill Magnus.
Come on. You know you want it. All right. Now that was a little disturbing. So now we're going to talk about formations. We're not going to go really deep into any of these because
they're awesome though.
So
they're awesome.
Yeah.
It's really the triumvirate is all 3 people, and they get all of their warlord traits, which is great.
Yeah, actually that is pretty
It's kind of like the demon one, isn't it? There's a demon one that does that. The 3 demon princes, yeah. And the Conclave Acquisitorius, which I can definitely see narrative players using for their Mechanicus armies.
Oh yeah, that would if you're running Mechanicus, this would probably be the formation that would be the most fun for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a very cult Mechanicus-y one though, so it's all like the priests and stuff like that, which is really cool. Those priests are really cool. I've got a good respect for them. The priests, I think they're really neat. I don't know what protects them from barrage, because they don't have transports. It'd be great if the Mechanicus got transports, but in a narrative game, I think there'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And they're beautiful models.
That too. They don't have transports? No, they don't, do they?
No, they don't. So, I think my favorite one is the Wrathful Crusade. And I do want to touch on this one a little bit.
All right, let's talk about it.
because it's Saint Celestine, Inquisitor Greyfax, a Space Marine Captain, a Stern Guard Vet Squad, 0 to 1, 2 to 4 Crusader Squads, 1 to 2 Assault Squads, and 1 Militarum Tempestus Platoon. And they have to be Black Templars.
Meh.
So the army gets Crusader, but the Black Templar portion already has it.
Yeah.
But Greyfax, Celestine, and the Militarum Tempestus Platoon get it. If they contain the maximum number of units, which you could do in a regular list, they get Zealot.
Yeah.
Which is Fearless and Hatred.
Yeah.
Which is really good when you're assaulting and stuff.
That's true, it is, because you get to reroll those ones on Hatred.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, and Unbridled Fury. You get to reroll your charges, which again is really good for Black Templars because they're so used to getting screwed over in that way.
Yeah.
And if you roll a 10 or more, you get Furious Charge.
You're so furious, so angry.
You are furious, yeah. So okay, so this isn't the shot of adrenaline that the Black Templars players are looking for, but it's still pretty cool, I think. I think if anybody's going to be backing up Saint Celestine, it's probably the Black Templars.
Yeah, I think this would be a good formation if you're running Black Templars. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
I wish there were some other things you could add, like, Land Raiders, but whatever.
Well, they are dedicated transports for the Crusader squads.
Oh, are they?
Yes, they are.
Then I take that back.
Then this is not terrible.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, it's not the greatest, but like from a competitive standpoint. But if you're this really drips with flavor for those Black Templars players who, the Furious Charge, the better charge distance. It's very much and like that zealotry with Saint Celestine at the center, at the forefront of the battle. I think it's perfect. It's the perfect culmination of what they are at the end of the 41st millennium. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's what they've been leading up to, basically, in a formation.
I guess the question I have is, would our buddy Darwin be completely stoked about it?
I don't know. That's a good question. I wish I knew. He's a very much a dedicated family man, and I haven't seen him in months.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Well, I'd be curious to see what his opinion would be, because he is
a true Black Templar.
Yeah.
Hey, listeners, please go to our Facebook page and let us know what you think about the Wrathful Crusade.
Yeah.
Is this something that you're excited about? In fact, why don't you go to the page right now, post something, and let us know what you think. Because I would be very much interested in hearing what people think about this.
Yeah.
For sure.
And there are plenty of Black Templar players out there who are definitely narrative players. And that seems to be...
definitely.
I don't know, it seems to be that every Black Templar player I know is like kind of beyond narrative.
Yeah, and I think that this will help them get stuck in.
Yeah.
I know Black Templar players love getting stuck in, so this could help. Yeah. So we're gonna skip ahead a little bit. We're gonna go past these detachments and go straight into just I want to touch on how these relics work.
Yeah.
And I think this is really exciting because if you take obviously the detachments and formations in this mission or in this book, you can use them. But also, if you take Celestine or Call, you can use each respective list for your characters. So if I'm a Space Marine player and I take Belisarius Call, I can give my Space Marine characters relics from the Mechanicus Arcana Mechanicum list relics. Or if you take Saint Celestine, you can take the Ecclesiarchy relics on your, I guess in the case of that last formation, your Black Templars can take relics from that. So there are some things that the Black Templars could really use in here, I think. My favorite one is the Castigator.
Yeah.
From the Ecclesiarchy relics. The Castigator is just a pistol. It's a strength 4 AP2 pistol, which ignores invulnerable saves.
Ooh, that's...
No one gets to say. I think the only thing you get for this is feel no pain.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all you would get because it's going to go through
I just
any
find
armor.
that amusing.
Yeah.
There's some fun ones in here, and like I said, you can only take one of each.
Yeah.
So you can only take one Arcana Mechanicum in your army or one Ecclesiarchy Relic in your army, but there are some great things in here that can help with things. Sisters of Battle, Space Marines, a lot of cool stuff in here. One of them, I mean, if you're thinking competitively, there is one thing that gives Eternal Warrior. So
yeah,
if you have like a Canoness, like your favorite Canoness, you can give her Eternal Warrior so that she doesn't just die from a Strength 6 scatter laser shot.
Yeah, that's the Shroud
stuff
of
like
the
that.
Anti-Martyr, which I like that title.
Yep.
That's a pretty cool name.
Which one's your favorite?
My favorite is Deval's Holy Circle, which it gives the bearer a 4-up invul save, which is like whatever. What I like about it is enemy units cannot arrive via deep strike anywhere within 12 inches of the bearer. If they do, it's like if they scatter within, they automatically suffer a deep strike mishap.
That's fantastic.
And that's a 20.
That's great.
That's a 12-inch radius that you have just taken away. And that seems like a lot of fun, especially if you.
I can see that.
Go ahead.
I can see that going on like an Inquisitor, like an Ordo Hereticus Inquisitor, or help me out here, like a. I guess a captain couldn't use that 4+ invulnerable save, but that deep strike thing is really cool.
But if you put him in a drop pod, drop him on, like if you were...
Oh, yeah.
There's all sorts of horrible things that are coming to my mind about, what I could do. I'm a narrative player.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun
I'm a narrative
things.
player, but man, I really like causing problems for everyone else.
Blade of the Worthy, which is a great name for this because it has 2 profiles. One if you pass the leadership test, and one if you don't.
Oh yeah, that one.
So it's either Strength User AP3 or Strength +2 AP2.
Yeah.
How great is that?
That's awesome.
How cool is that? That's another great one for a Canoness, I think.
Yeah, because that would actually pump her up to like Strength 5, right?
Yeah, Strength 5 on initiative. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I like this. It's so cool. So my list the list I made kind of takes advantage of this, but hey, why don't we hear about your list first?
Okay. So, we both created our lists for, how can we put this? Do you want me to talk about the list, the detachment, or do you want me to talk about the list I created?
Both.
All right. So let's talk about the detachment. Detachment is the Castellans of the Imperium, and it's pretty interesting in that, well, it's an Imperial army, essentially. You can take 2 to 4 HQs. And this can go through and be from your Inquisition book, well, actually the Imperial Agents, your Guard book, Space Marines, or you can get the new characters. They can be used as HQs. You have to have 4+ units of troops, 0 to 6 heavy, 0 to 6 elites, 0 to 6 fast attack, and 0 to 3 Lords of War. All right, I have a grump about this, a little bit of a gripe. For those of you who know, I do like Legion of the Damned. I have 30-something, 37, 38 built and painted. I guess I like them. I don't know. Anyways, they're not included as an elite's choice. And one of the special rules is any destroyed unit goes into ongoing reserve on a 5-up. And I think that would work.
That's only troops, dude. It's only troops.
I thought that was everyone but characters.
No, troops.
Ooh, okay. I need to go back and reread that. But anyway, I screwed that up, but no problem.
Well, we can just edit point this.
I'm not going to edit this. Bah.
Okay.
If I come across looking like I don't know something, I have no problem saying I don't know.
I have a problem with me not knowing stuff.
Oh well,
you don't edit it when I don't know something.
If you ask me to edit, I edit you.
Okay.
Myself.
No, the answer should be no.
Oh, you never edit anything. You're always perfect. Does that work?
Yes. There we go. Jeez, dude. Anyways,
can I get Wendy to come in on and give me a rubber stamp on that? Let's see what she has to say.
That's probably a bad idea.
All right. So, anyways, the Castellans, they get hatred.
She would call me something that someone grabs people by.
Wow. Okay. Keeping that PG rating.
Are we at edit point yet, Jason? Because I feel like we're at edit point right now.
Nope, not there yet. That did it. Okay. I'll have to beep that. I'll have to beep that too. All right. Anyway, so where were we? What was I going to say? Okay, here we go. So you have hatred if you have the Castellan's detachment. Mm-hmm. If you fill the detachment. Now remember, this is 2 to 4 HQs, 4+ troops. So you have to have 6 heavies, 6 elite, 6 fast attack, and just because you need a cherry on top of this cake, 3 Lord of Wars.
You're never gonna fill this. This is meant for big engagements.
Oh, this is
big engagements.
This is APOC right here. So if you do that, then you have Zealot, because why not? And
I think that this is what they were intending for those last 2 battles.
I mean, imagine how many models this is, because that means max. If I remember right, max troop size and max number. So even if you're just playing Space Marines, which is going to be your lowest model count, you're looking at easily almost 200, if not more, Space Marines, which is insane. Not including your Lords of War.
Yeah, the Lords of War make it dumb.
Yeah.
But you're playing like the House Raven Knights,
yeah.
right? If you're you doing this battle from the book, you have the House Raven Knights, and you have a bunch of Astra Militarum units. You're gonna fill out your troops pretty quickly that way, and the heavy support. I mean, tanks and elites, like you said. I think you could actually fill it out pretty quickly. It's not going to be a 2,000 point game. That's for sure.
No, not even close. So anyways, I have a list. That was a narrative list I built for the Phalanx at the beginning of the book, the invasion there. And I wanted to create
it's the
Imperial Fist Mega Fortress ship that they had to burn off 10% because demons had invaded. Because that's what you do right before you go to warp, is cut off 10% of your ship. Brilliant, right?
with laser guns.
It's what I would do. I mean, come on, go big, go home. I don't care. So what I'm trying to do is create a rather fluffy list that could be used in like a boarding action. So like I'd have a similar to a Zone Mortalis setup. Maybe I'd even run as a Zone Mortalis, but with an alternate Force Org. And yeah, I know. I'm #hard for Zone Mortalis. Whatever. Okay. So this is probably going to be a Demons versus Imperial game, because that's what you have to do to get this narrative down. So I've got a couple of things I'm doing. This is for a 1,500 point list. I'm taking 2 5-man Legion of the Damned squads, and they're all Melta, so Combi Melta, Multi-Melta. And then I'm taking an Engine Seer from the Mechanicus book, and I think also from Imperial Agents. One thing I did not mention earlier is to take this detachment, you must have 2 or more factions present in the detachment.
Yeah.
You can't just go through and run as all Space Marines. It's a beautiful list to run as all Space Marines. I looked at that and thought, I would prefer to run this over some of the other detachments out there. But It's good. So I'm taking an Engine Seer, and I'm popping a Melt-A-Bomb on him. And I figure there will be Engine Seers wandering around the phalanx while it's being attacked, so I can add one. And I would like it to add an Inquisitor instead, but I don't see that happening. That's just not going to happen. Then I'll have a Captain with the Relic Blade, an Artificer Armor because that needs to happen. And I can't stop myself. I have to take a Librarian. I can't do it. I can't stop myself. Then I'm taking 5 tack squads, and I'm taking them naked just to provide bodies, bolter fire, and I'm taking the Imperial Fist chapter tactics because that's what it's supposed to be. So they've got, the re-rolling ones. So I'll get some shots.
You know what? Maybe, you say some of them are naked to provide bodies and bolter fire. Why not swap some of those guys out for chapter serfs? Like Astra Militarum guys, just like regular dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like throw a Melt-A-Bomb on a guy and just send them forward to meet their doom.
Yeah. I guess I'm running this more as what do I have already built?
I got it. Like actually like running lists.
Yeah, seriously, I have the Engine Seer model. I need to paint him. He's already primed and built. But everything else, I think I've got. I know I've got a couple of these things. So I've got.
I just to let you know, I am literally thousands of dollars away from running my list. So.
Ow. All right. Also, since this is going to be a Zone Mortalis list, I thought I'd take a Contemptor Dreadnought because I hate people and fun, and put some dual carries autocannons on him.
Because you really hate.
Oh
fun.
Man, it's.
Because Bellicor needs to die.
Of course. Why not? Because Strength 6, all the DACA, why not? But I'm going to run a couple of... I think I'm running 2 or 3 dev squads running heavy bolters. This is all demons versus Imperials. I need that Strength 5 more than anything else.
Right, yeah.
I'm not taking...
And there's nothing quite like... Nothing like sweeping a deck.
Yeah.
Like a heavy bolter.
Yeah, I mean, I can just sit them in a... kind of a corridor and just control that. And I can use the Contemptor Dread in another corridor and just control that area, which I think is pretty fun. Well, maybe not. I don't know. I'm not taking Fast Attack because it's Zone Mortalis. Elites, for whatever reason, I did not choose those because, I don't know, I wanted to have more troops just so I could control objectives. And, of course, Lords of War in Zone Mortalis. Ha ha, ha ha, ha ha.
Yeah, lol.
Yeah, all the lols. So, yeah, that's kind of the force I would run. It's about 1,500 points, which is going to be large for Zone Mortalis, but on a 4x6 board, that's perfect. So. And then you have your Tech Heresy Execution Force.
That's right. We have a Tech Heresy Execution Force. I'm not sure how... the abilities from the Grand Convocation Detachment really don't come much into play here. It's just like the selections, but I don't care. It's whatever. So we have for the Grand Convocation, we have some cool abilities. So all the vehicles in the detachment get It Will Not Die, but it's really, you're only selecting from Astra Militarum, Cult Mechanicus, Imperial Agents, Imperial Knights, and Scutari. It really affects the Imperial Knights quite a bit. I think that's like the main thing. Because the only Astra Militarum unit in the list is the Engine Seer, which I thought that was pretty cool. So my thought was behind this list was it's a combined force of like not just Priests of Mars, but also like Tech Marines, like whatever Tech Marines they have on hand might sometimes go out with them to persecute enemies of the Omnissiah. So I'm thinking like this is kind of this list would represent some kind of almost technocratic, some kind of technocratic Inquisition force almost. So I have Belisarius Call. He's going out to whoop some butt. With him, he has 3 engine seers to help repair vehicles and stuff. And that's all my HQs for the Grand Convocation. For troops, I have 2 units of Rangers. So I think that those guys would represent kind of the trackers. Because in the stories we heard, we read about how they are kind of not the vanguard, but they definitely have tracking abilities. And so I also, for troops, because you need 4 of them, I have 2 units of Cataphren Breachers. Again, I was going with this whole, this is where Call uses them to delve into kind of areas where the enemy might be dug in. Yeah. Right? So I thought that made sense for those troops. I took some elites as well. Fulgurite Electro Priests. They are kind of the zealots of the motive force. So I thought that made sense to put them in this kind of Mechanicus Inquisition. I think that they would be a part of that. They would be a part of that action. So I think I would put Call in that unit of Electro Priests. And they would go whoop butt on people.
Yeah, every time I've seen them be played, like I've seen them in a game, they get stuck in and, they tar pit. And if you've got Call in there, that might actually be the thing that, pushes them over to being more of a destructive unit.
Yeah, he can kind of tank for them. He can go ahead because he regenerates like D3 per turn. So I think with him there and with them kind of egging him on, because we've seen in the past that they're these Electro Priests are kind of a faction in like a sub faction in the Mechanicus, where they keep tabs on these Magos and make sure they're executing the will of the Omnissiah. So I think that might be a really good choice. So that gives us 4 units of with the Canticles of the Omnissiah. So it actually, I think it puts you like right at that point where you start rolling, or you start getting at least 1 higher abilities in that. So that's that. That's all I took from the Grand Convocation detachment. Certainly nothing close to the maximum number of units, which is this kind of it's the same as the Castellan's one,
so many bodies.
But the great thing is, if you do fill it out, everybody gets Canticles of the Omnissiah, which is just awesome. Can you imagine knights with the Canticle? No, I
don't know. That'd be kind of cool. Personally, I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be really great. That would be really great. So in addition to that, I decided to go with an Iron Hands ally detachment. I figured they're not really Iron Hands; they're Tech Marines.
Yeah,
they're these Tech Marines in training. But I think the Iron Hands chapter tactics really lends itself to that. They all get the it will not die from the Iron Hands. Yeah. So I have a captain who I would, he'd be all painted up all Tech Marine-y, and I gave him Numinasta's Casket of Electromancy. Which, it's not the best one in there. Like, if you're going to go crazy, you can give them Omnissiah's Grace, which improves their invulnerable save by 1. Yeah. So your invul save goes from 4 to 3. There's a few things in here that are better options, but the Casket of Electromancy is 30 points, and once per game, you can unleash its power. All units within 2d6 inches, even flyers, are automatically hit, and it's a haywire shot. Which is cool, right? I like that.
Then we'd have to look up Haywire, because no one remembers Haywire.
It's on a 1, nothing happens. On a 2 to 5, glancing hit. On a 6, penetrating hit.
Okay, except for Adam. Adam knows the rule now.
Well, I think someone used it against me a bunch at the last tournament, so it makes it easy. So he's got that. So that casket. So if they're going against Tech Heresy, that's a great thing for him to have, because he'll go up and he'll be like, "Boing," and shut down a bunch of their engines, like if they're going against demon engines or something.
Yeah.
And not only that, the Rangers have a bunch of haywire, as do the Cataphren Breachers. So I thought, and actually I think the Electro Priests do too, actually. Dang, I am crushing dudes. I am crushing tanks. So I also have Tactical Squad with grav guns.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And a Land Raider.
Yeah.
Because Land Raider, because modding and painting up a Mechanicus Land Raider sounds awesome. And then I have an Iron Hands Armored Task Force from the Space Marines Codex. So that's a Tech Marine, a Vindicator, a unit of 3 Predators, so I can get the Tank Hunter, and the Monster Hunter, and a Whirlwind. Okay. And those guys are great because Iron Hands Tech Marines are like, they repair real good. They're good at repairing. Yep. So I've got 5 guys that can repair. I have all kinds of like buffing from call. I think that and imagine all those Predators painted up in Mechanicus colors.
Oh, that'd look cool.
Because haven't you ever wondered, like, Mechanicus probably has some of these Astartes vehicles on hand,
they
right?
Should. That's what
they
build.
You would think that they would. So I'm thinking this is the kind of thing where it gives you an opportunity to build that kind of list. This list was like 2,000 points ish for all that. I mean, there's not a lot of models, but it's a bunch of tanks and it's fun, and it really does reflect the I think it. Well, I don't want to. No, I don't know what you think, but I think that really represents the idea I had of this kind of technomancy, or this technocratic Inquisition force.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was just thinking about this as you were showing me your list here. There's someone who plays with the independent characters that's been on the show a couple of times, that has a Space Marine army, or had one, where they had painted all their HQs like Tech Marines.
Oh, cool.
I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it was the guy who does all their Mechanicus stuff, but I can't remember his name.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. I mean, it would make sense for that to happen sometimes, right? Yeah. For the Tech Marines to go, the nascent Tech Marines to go out. I actually almost made that a scout squad instead of a tactical squad, because they might be kind of like not quite Space Marine-y yet. But it could go either way, I think. Yeah. And I think it could be a lot of fun. And now that we have Call, I think we can actually do combined arms detachments of Mechanicus. Yeah. I actually don't think you have to run one of those special formations or detachments if you don't want to, because he is a proper HQ, I believe. Yeah, the skull means HQ.
Yes,
I think,
the skull means HQ. Yeah, he has an HQ. Yeah. I was just looking at this because I have a box of 10 Skitarii Rangers that I've built. So I guess I'd have to pick up more troops. But I could run a Grand Convocation at some point, because I do have an Engine Seer and I have Call. So
yeah, I like having those, because the Engine Seers not being in the Mechanicus Codex itself seemed like an oversight. You'd think you'd have a bunch of those little guys running around, those little Tech Priests or Engine Seers who, just do little more menial tasks that you might want to have sprinkled around the army. So I thought that was really cool, and it's fluffy as hell, dude. Like these are great. You can build a lot of lists with what's in here. If you're a Mechanicus player, you should own this book.
Yeah,
for sure.
And if you're an Imperial player of any sort, I think the Castellan Detachment's pretty good. I think that there are some of the other detachments out of Angels of Death are better, of course, but I think there's some really cool stuff happening in this one. So,
if you're the kind of Imperial player who wants his combined forces, I think this is the book for you. Like, if you're running a combined arms force of any Imperials, you need to buy this book for sure. All right, well, I think that's good. I think we've given our summation pretty well. Why don't we take a break, listen to a couple commercials, and close out the show. Hey, Masters of the Forge listeners, are you looking to expand your Warhammer 40,000 gaming group?
Do you want to start a 40k club in your area?
Do you want the people you attract to be like-minded mofos?
Do you want to advertise your YouTube channel?
Or even attract more subscribers to your hobby blog or online community?
Then what better way than to advertise on the Masters of the Forge podcast?
All we ask of you is that you email us at mastersoftheforge@gmail.com or message us on Facebook with a full text of your advertisement, including the region in which you live and any contact information people can use to get a hold of you.
We will have one of our many tech servitors read your advertisement on the air. We promise not to make fun of you.
Though we can't always predict the actions of our servitors, you really can't find good help these days.
No, you can't.
Dallas-Fort Worth Nerd Night is a community organization that throws tabletop gaming parties for charity. We believe tabletop gamers are uniquely qualified to build better local communities because of the types of relationships built while gaming. If you'd like to learn more about how you can play games and help people with DFW Nerd Night, check out www.dfwnn.org. That's www.dfwnn.org. Thanks. Do you play more than one mini war game? Or do you like listening to shows which discuss other games and pan hobby topics? Combat Phase is a weekly podcast covering the whole hobby for gamers. We also interview a lot of Black Library authors. Join Kenny and Robert as they try to grow the hobby. Combat Phase, the best part of the game, is on iTunes and www.combatphase.com.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good. That was a nice conversation. Yep. I think I'm most excited about being able to listen to the independent characters now because I was waiting until we were done with this before actually listening to that.
Me too, actually.
Because I know they did it. And I wanted to have my own thoughts. You know, I didn't want to be influenced by the greats. I don't want to step on anybody's toes, and I like being surprised. And I wanted to read this whole thing for myself.
Yeah.
Now I think we have some new information for folks. We've posted stuff on the Facebook page, but we haven't spoken about it in the podcast yet. But we are joining forces with a couple other podcasts. We've kind of already joined forces with them because we run their commercials.
Yeah, I did it in the last episode. I ran it.
One of those podcasts we totally don't steal intros from, and that's the NGC 40K podcast, and also the Adeptus Terra podcast. We're forming a little group called the NPC, which is really interesting because it also means non-player character. It's the Narrative Podcast Coalition, and we're gonna compare notes and share ideas and support each other going forward in the community.
Yeah.
So I think that should be a lot of fun. And we probably have the commercial running during this.
Yes, we will.
Probably. So great. So that's really awesome. Check those guys out, and it'll be invite only. So we may add people going forward. We may not. I don't know.
But we are wanting to do things like hobby hangouts on Google, do Google Chats, as well as, talk about the narrative and actually, do some cross podcast promotion and actually like talking to each other, which is lovely.
Yeah. We also have decided, none of us really have a Facebook group.
Yeah.
For our podcasts, because that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So instead, Mark Stone had created the Narrative 40K Facebook group. So what we've done is we've gone and conscripted Mark. I mean, he agreed to it, but it was more of a voluntold type situation.
Voluntold. I like that.
I mean, what else? It was just a question of saying, "Hey, man, can we tell people to go here to talk about the narrative with us?" And he's like, "Oh, okay." So that's what we're doing. It's just called Narrative 40K.
Yeah.
Go to that group, ask to be added, and we'll add you, and we'll just go there and have a fun time talking about the narrative. Yeah. And I don't think it really matters what you're talking about as long as it's narratively focused, right?
Yep.
So either it's narrative rules or narrative campaigns or just the books or whatever. I think that all falls within the realm of that group. Yeah. So please go on there, get active, start talking about stuff, and we'll be happy to chat. But aside from that, Jason, I think that I have talked way too much today. My voice is dying. Aww. But I'm so excited about these campaign books.
Yeah, they are pretty cool. I'm already looking forward to the next series.
Awesome. Yeah. So I would love it if the listeners can go on the Facebook page and let us know on the post for this episode what mission out of this book you'd like to see. I don't think we decided, but I think the most interesting one, to be perfectly honest, is the second one, because it's not so grand, and it also has that empiric table.
Yeah, the empiric table, I think, is something that I would definitely want to do.
Right. No, but if anybody out there has a creative way of melding that table into a different mission, another mission that they've played, go ahead and suggest that too, because there are so many options out there.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's it. Next time we're going to talk about the what is it? The Inane?
Gathering Storm 2.
Gathering Storm 2. That's what we have you around here for, Jason.
Because if I can't pronounce it, I'll figure out I'll weasel out of it somehow.
Great. But until then,
play the game the way you want to.
Are we still recording?
I am. I will cut that.
Play the way the game you want to.
There you go. Nailed it.
Nailed it.
This podcast is protected by the Creative Commons Attribution, No Derivatives, Non-Commercial International License. More information about this license and contact information if you have any requests can be found at our blog, mastersoftheforge.com. The music used in this podcast was made by Parad of the duo Sublevel 3. The track is used with his permission.
It's such a good feeling to play games your way. It's such a happy feeling 40K'ing away. And when you throw dice with story in mind, it's such a wonderful way to unwind. It's a good feeling, a very good feeling, the feeling you know that we'll be back when the fortnight's new, and we'll have new ideas for you, and you'll have things you'll want to talk about. We will too.